Are you looking for a good film adaptation of a story by horror author H.P Lovecraft? Well, I'm gonna do everything except deliver you what you're looking for.
Oh, that's great. Now what am I gonna do?
Yoo-hoo! And thanks for tuning in to another awful movie review.
What do you want?
You know, some movies just get better as the runtime progresses. The viewer gets deeper and deeper into the story. And by the same token, some films worsen as the plot slowly moves along, sometimes becoming unwatchable near the end. And that would be the case for The Dunwich Horror, loosely based on the story by H.P Lovecraft. I say loosely because even if the film is supposed to be based off his short story, the ideas here are so clumsily strung together that it doesn't do Lovecraft and his work any justice.
Oh, there's no need to be upset.
But just before we get going, if there's a bad movie you would like me to review, leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, let me know your thoughts and feelings on The Dunwich Horror.
I'll be waiting for you.
This ultra-boring movie adaptation was directed by David Haller, the man who designed the sets for Roger Corman's House of Usher. In fact, Corman served as executive producer on this crap. Dunwich Horror is another of those so-called cult classics, which I've had the dishonor of crossing paths with, and which, in result, I am totally about to obliterate, to the detriment of its fan base.
I thought I told you to stay away from here.
Some massive weirdo named Wilbert is trying to get his hands on a priceless ancient book inside a university called the Necronomicon. Wilbert is a descendant of a family who believed in a whole lot of weird shit, like beings from another dimension coming down to Earth many years before mankind evolved.
Well, I don't know what to think.
And through a combination of hocus pocus and magic spells, he tries to open a portal to let the old ones, as he calls them, back on Earth, using some girl he met at the university in the process. I'll start with the quality this picture possesses, because believe me, they are few and far between. The music is pretty good, although it's hard to mess up when you've got Les Baxter doing the job. He composed the scores for other awful movies I've reviewed in the past, like Frogs and Attack of the Eye Creatures. He must have really needed the money to get involved with that.
Do you know what you're doing?
Anyways, let's get back to the Dunwich Horror. I did not enjoy the way the screenplay was written. It takes some interesting ideas, but it doesn't know what to do with them, so we're left with what feels like very low-effort stuff.
I don't have to answer to you. I do what I want.
For example, I would have liked to know more about the book of the Necronomicon, the lore, its contents, but the movie barely sheds any light on that. The plot starts to lose itself to the point where I couldn't keep up, because I don't think the film itself knew what it was aiming for.
Well, I'm not sure, but it sounds as if all hell's breaking loose.
I think the Dunwich Horror would have worked a lot better if it took the time and, most of all, the passion to really dive into the whole mythos of Dunwich. But I guess that a low budget maybe kept it from doing its best, and that would explain certain things. It would explain why we never see the Dunwich Horror in question. It's revealed that Wilbert isn't completely human because he was conceived with the help of a father who was from another world.
What?
Yeah, this goes pretty far, but it's not surprising for a Lovecraft story. And so, he's got a twin which isn't human at all, but rather some monstrous cosmic figure which Wilbert keeps in a room upstairs.
Don't be ridiculous.
When it breaks out and starts eating people, the camera shows all types of psychedelic colors. Using this a couple of times would have been a good idea, but here it's used repeatedly, and it feels like the producers were trying to patch up their lack of finances to show a real monster. It doesn't feel menacing, but silly and tiresome.
I'm glad you find it interesting.
I think the worst flaw of this movie, apart from its general laziness and lack of creative ideas, is the directing and the choice of actors. The performances are really dreadful. The actors don't really feel alive. What I think could have helped is if our central figures had more pizzazz, more character, more emotions, and vividness, but the delivery from the cast is stale, they feel asleep and borderline dead. In fact, the only person who stood out for me was this old-timer who looks like he's about to have a heart attack at any moment.
Shut up, you old fool.
So yeah, in conclusion, the Dunwich Horror does nothing with its source material, and it would have saved a lot of people an hour and a half of watch time. What an awful movie.
I'll stop you.